Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. My name is Scott Morgan, North Motor City Madmouth. Got a loaded show tonight. Got a loaded crew. Great stuff. Hope everybody on the crew had a good weekend. We're talking baseball, even though there's an awful lot of football going on. Candy and I have a lot of football going on. We got with Miami blowing out NC State. And now we have FAU against Connecticut on Saturday. And then USF takes on Rice on the following week, Thanksgiving week. Glad to have everybody on board. Warren Brewster out in Hawaii paradise. Now right. I have somebody I can visit out there. That's a beautiful thing. Glad to have you back, Uncle Warren.
Thank you, Scott. Great to be here.
And you got Candy Ebling.
Always great talking baseball with you fine gentlemen.
And my longtime buddy, Barry Foote. We go back to the Fort Lauderdale Yankees, and I learned a lot from this manager. I'll tell you, he's a winner on and off the field, Barry.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
And we got George Eichhorn.
Good to be here. Welcome.
And we got the Catsy Man.
Good to be here, Scott.
And the Clark Bar. Okay. Great stuff. All right. So with that said, let's get to it. Busy agenda here. Things baseball fans must accept. And I'm going to go over some things that obviously occurred during the year. I'll just ask you, everybody on the crew, do you agree or disagree with them for the sake of getting through them? Some of them have already passed. Not a big deal. This is one of the shows during the off season where we have a chance to reflect a little bit. But this year was a World Series or bust for the Phillies. Do you agree or disagree, Warren?
Well, you know, it's a fine line there. Yeah, they've got a lot of free agents. They're going to have to spend a lot of money to keep that group intact, you know. And I think Dombrowski called Harper out right after the season was over and said Bryce didn't have one of his better years, you know, hoping that he will rebound and be the leader of the team, you know. And if they lose a guy like Schwarber with 50-something home runs and Jay Realmuto from behind the plate, they're in trouble. You know, they'll have to rebuild. They'll have to start from scratch pretty much, you know. Have to start all over again.
Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go with everybody. I'm going to go through all of them with one person at a time, and we'll go there. So the next one, Uncle Warren, is going to be this. If the next made the playoffs, they would have been knocked out in the first round. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. Yeah, because there's had to be some turmoil and something. With the amount of money they paid those players, you know, there's something wrong there with them not being in the playoffs to begin with.
Okay, the next one, the Mariners would be dangerous in the playoffs. Well, it's safe to say they were. Warren, do you want to go ahead and elaborate?
Yeah, you know, and they're got a strong nucleus, a young nucleus. Josh Naylor re-signed, so they're in good shape. You know, they're moving forward. I think they'll be big. Make some big moves in the offseason. You know, they've kind of laid in the weeds, and now they've got a contending ball club that's going to have one game from being in the World Series this year.
Okay, the Yankees would be favorites if they had Garrett Cole. All right, Warren, what do you think?
Yes. Oh yeah, without question. Yeah, I mean he's one of the top 5 pitchers in all of baseball. You know, he's a horse. You can ride him for a long ways. You're going to get a strong 7 out of him almost every 5th day. So that's, you know, that really hurt their rotation when they lost him.
The Orioles would be in the playoffs if they had a different general manager.
Well, that's a tough call, you know, because he's, you know, it seems like that's the way the game's going. The front office is running things and the manager is kind of just a figurehead, you know. So it just general manager very important. They got to bring the players in that the manager can run out there and play with, you know. But you know, that's hard to say. I'm not that know that much about the Orioles, and it's something that I really can't speak to.
Cade Horton will win the NL Rookie of the Year. I don't know if he did or not, but maybe somebody has an answer to it. Did he?
Yeah.
He did not. Drake Baldwin did the Atlanta Braves.
Okay, all right. So, well, obviously So Eric will just refresh us there. All right. So we're going to pass on these other 3. Pete Crow Armstrong is overrated, Warren. Do you think he is or not?
No, I don't think so. No, he's a young man. He's only 23 years old, and I think he's just coming into his prime. You know, he's a great defensive outfielder, And now the bat's starting to come around. I think he'll do nothing but get better.
Okay, and last, Geraldo Perdomo is the top 3 shortstop.
There's guys that have been around longer than him. You know, I would say no.
Okay. All right, Candy, I'll give you all this. I'll go through them in rapid fire, and then we'll continue. We have a lot of other things to get to. All right, so we'll go back to the beginning. Candy, this year was World Series of West for the Phillies. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I agree.
Okay. If the Mets made the playoffs, would they have been a first-round knockout?
Yes.
Okay. The Mariners would be dangerous in the playoffs.
Oh, yes.
Okay. The Yankees would be World Series favorites if they had Garrett Cole.
I agree.
Okay. The O's would be in the playoffs if they had a different GM.
I'm going to disagree with that one.
Okay. And Pete Crow is overrated. Armstrong was overrated.
No.
And last, we talked about Geraldo Perdomo as a top 3 shortstop.
No.
Okay. Barry, you want me to go over them all again real quickly?
Well, if you don't mind, you know I'm old, so let's do it.
You're old. Hey, you look fantastic. That's okay. Maybe by the time Trent, he'll have them memorized. Just kidding with you. By the way, Zion Pantaya, thanks for being in here tonight. Okay, we'll go. We'll start it again, and that's this. Okay, we've got a World Series or bust for the Phillies.
No, I think the Phillies could come back. I mean, you know, I think they're going to spend money. I think they'll probably. There's a good chance they'll re-sign Schwarber, and Harper's got to have a good year. I mean, if Harper isn't the superstar, you know, year that he normally has or has had in the past, they aren't going to compete. But I think they could. You know, they lost their top pitcher there at the end, so you know, I don't know. You know how deep in the wallet they're willing to go, but they got the money to do that.
If the Mets had made the playoffs, would they have been a first-round knockout?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Okay. The Mariners will be dangerous in the playoffs.
Yeah, the Mariners going to be tough because you know they got. The way I look at clubs on the long run is how many of them were going to end up in the Hall of Fame potentially, and they got 2 or 3 guys that are potential Hall of Famers. When you have that nucleus, you're going to be tough, and they're young. So yeah, I like them long term.
Yeah, no, they look awfully good. The Yankees be World Series favorites if they had Garrett Cole.
In New York, they would be, but you know, having played there, I always get overhyped. But yeah, they missed Cole. I mean, I think Warren said it best. You know, he's 7 innings, which is a big deal nowadays, and they're going to be 7 to 8 quality innings. So yeah, they would have been much better off with him, obviously.
Okay, and let's see. The O's would be different. Would be playoffs if they had a different general manager.
If he could hit for them and go out in the field for them, but they can't. So no, they're young players. You know, they haven't had. And Rutschman or the catcher there had a bad year, and they had another catcher came in and did great. So if he can come back and those young kids can play to their potential, they're going to be tough. But I don't know that it's the GM's fault. But obviously, like Warren said, the GMs are more at fault than ever because they got their nose into everything.
Great point, Barry. Thank you. And we move on from the O's. Obviously, we'll talk about Pete Crow and Geraldo Perdomo.
I like Crow. I think he's going to be a very good player. He brings defense to the game every night. And, you know, last year he had a really good first half, fell off a little in the second, but no, I like him a lot. And no, I don't think he's a top 3 shortstop.
Okay, George, we'll move on to you. Phillies.
Phillies, no. I'm a big Dave Dombrowski fan, so I'm not going to close the lid on them yet. So the window is not closed.
Okay. About the Mets, would they have been a first-round knockout if they got now?
I'm gonna have to join the crowd here on this one and say yes.
Okay. Well, okay. Then we'll talk about the Mariners being dangerous in the playoffs.
Well, you certainly, if you're from Detroit, you know they're dangerous and they will remain dangerous. So that's an absolute yes for me. They got a great team.
With the Yankees and Garrett Cole.
I mean, the thing is could they have gotten? I don't think they could have beat the Dodgers again in another matchup, but I would say yes, that if they had Cole, they probably would have gotten to the series at least.
All right, then we'll move on to Pete Crow Armstrong and Geraldo Perdomo.
Well, I'm big on both of them. I'm going to say yes to each one of them. I mean, yes that they're going to have positive futures in the MLB. I mean, that's a. Oh, and the other thing is, I think the Baltimore general manager. I'll throw my 2 cents on that.
Please do.
It's very hard, to be a GM in today's world. He does take the flack, or she, and we're waiting for the first of that. But we got to make sure that people understand that it's not all on them. Was it you, Barry, or the one that about the fielding? He's not suiting up, he's not batting, and that's so true. And I lived through it here with Al Avila, and what they did, the torment the media gave to that man was just relentless. So I'm going to say to Baltimore, no, keep the general manager going. Hopefully.
Okay, then the other two is, as I mentioned as well, George, you got Pete Crow overrated and Geraldo Perdomo. Did you mention that already?
Pete Crow is not overrated to me. Geraldo, I'm a little bit a little iffy on that. I'm going to say no to him, but Pete definitely is not overrated.
Okay, Eric, do you remember him?
One of them is I know the Yankees one. I'll probably need reminders on.
Well, here I'll do it 2 more times. Okay, that way I'll have it all memorized in case anybody asks me to study for my exam. No big deal. Just kidding with you. I'll tell you, listen, I passed a 215 right candy in the first time and made it, although I won ugly. Then again, that's my whole life story anyways, except that with her, I won pretty. But well, this year was bust or World Series. What would you say there?
No, I think they got another run in them.
Okay. And the Mets, would they have been a first round casualty?
They would have been. A casualty is an understatement.
Okay, it is. All right. Seattle. Anybody expect them to be this good? Obviously, they were dangerous.
They got a bright future ahead of them. Came within 1 game of the World Series. That team is going to be a force in the AL West for a while.
And what about the Yankees and Garrett Cole?
No, and here's why: because their bullpen was a mess all year.
Okay. And let's talk about the Orioles. Would they be in the playoffs with a different general manager?
Nah, they returned the same team from last year that went to the playoffs the past couple years. So it wouldn't have made a difference. The young stars that they have regressed. They need to start playing up to their potential better because most of them had a down year.
Pete Crow Armstrong, overrated?
No, too early anyway. It was his first year where he was pretty good offensively. It's just give it more, show me more. But I think he's going to be a stud.
All right, finally Geraldo Perdomo.
No, this was his first year where he was actually had a pretty good offensive year. So no, he's not there yet, just based off of 1 year.
Okay. All right, Clarky, you're next.
Yeah, I think the Phillies will hang around, man. I think they're going to put it back together. Dombrowski's figured it out before. I think they'll stay.
So you don't think it was World Series or bust this past year?
Nope.
Okay. The Mets, first round knockout?
Yep. Just too inconsistent.
And the Mariners?
Mariners are, I agree with Katzy on this one, man. They're positioned to be there for a hot minute, and it helps that there's not a lot of they're competing against them in that division either. So I think they're going to own the West for a few years here.
And the Yankees, would they have been to the World Series with
No, I'm also staying with the Katzy. I can't believe Katzy said it out loud, to be honest. But I'm going to go with him on this and be like, he's right. Their bullpen's kind of inconsistent and not strong. And Cole hasn't been an absolute stopper in the playoffs. He's great, and he's a guy who eats innings, and you need him healthy. And man, we're starting to talk about Garrett Cole about the more years he's unhealthy than the years he's healthy, and that's concerning.
Yeah, it sure is. Okay, and let's talk about, obviously, we've got the Orioles and a different general manager. No?
Yeah, I don't think it would have changed anything. I think I agree with everybody that the GM is a fall guy for sure, but they've also positioned themselves for that, like maybe stepping across the field a little too much. There's a little too much green stains on the dress shoes up in the GMs, but at the end of the day, listen, he's not playing the game. I mean, team's got to go out there and get it done, and they did not. I don't think it matters who's running that home.
Yeah, Pete Crow overrated.
Yeah, I'm gonna abstain from both those guys. I don't know.
Okay, all right. I'll give you my 2 cents, and then we'll move on to the next topic. It does get easier. Fact of the matter is, I don't think it was World Series or bust. The Phillies had a lot of great players, but the bottom line is the Dodgers is the Dodgers, and that's all there is to it. Hopefully we'll see whether they had a lot of people. More on the Phillies later in the show. As far as the Mets, I actually thought they had a chance to go all the way with what I saw in spring training. But boy, I'll tell you, the fact that they didn't get into playoffs is unbelievable. But yeah, they would have been a first-round knockout had they gotten in with this group of teams. The Mariners, tell you one thing, Dan Wilson did a whale of a job for them. He sure did. Watch out for this team. As far as the Yankees, I'll tell you what, I think that Garrett Cole gets them at least 1 or 2 more rounds at least if they had gotten in there, and they wouldn't have been a quick exit. The Orioles, well, they need a lot of help. They're rebuilding. What else more do I have to add to it? Pete Crow was a great player up and coming, and Geraldo Perdomo's young. TBT. All right, we'll continue on. And let's figure that we're going to go on to Tony Gwynn, okay? Can you believe this, that in his career, he struck out only 434 times and 9,288 career at-bats? I'll tell you what, Warren, that's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing, especially in the way the game's played today. There's nobody like that in the game today. Very few guys can make contact like that. But he was amazing. I mean, he could do anything with the bat. He was just, definitely a Hall of Famer. Almost hit 400 one year. There wasn't anything he couldn't do with the bat.
Yeah, unbelievable. It's too bad he died way too early.
Right.
Candy?
He's known for his meticulous hitting technique and video studying. He won 8 batting titles, tying him for the most in the National League history. He batted left-handed and maintained a career batting average above 300. Great hitter. Yeah.
Barry?
Oh, just a great hitter. He was the kind of guy who just knew where the barrel of the bat was at all times. Put the bat on the ball, inside out, pull, hit some home runs one year when he wanted to show people he could hit home runs. Hall of Famer.
George?
Well, yeah. I mean, this guy was fantastic. I mean, you go back to this team that, ended up in the 84 World Series, and we all know how that ended up and not in San Diego's favor, but he was a part of that, even though he's very young. He was phenomenal. I mean, let's face it, 8 batting titles and 15 All-Star appearances. This guy was tremendous. What an athlete and what a great hitter.
Eric?
Tony Gwynn. Mr. Padre. The only guy who I think is comparable to him now in today's game would be Stephen Kwan in Cleveland. But it's getting 40, only striking out 40 something times for a career. That's most people beg for that in a month.
Clarky?
Yeah, I modeled myself after this guy in college. I mean, I thought that was such a thing. Get the barrel on the ball. Struck out, like for me, 3 times my senior year in college, and that was the whole thing. The one thing I think about what Cassie just said is I'm a lot better athlete than Tony Gwynn, and so Stephen Kwan. Like, this guy's not fast. And think about all those things about him putting the ball in play and hitting for that average. Like, he's not legging stuff out. So, it's such a tribute to his quality of preparation. I think that was the big difference. I think he was just so prepared for everybody.
I think one of the most inspiring things I've ever seen in my lifetime was watching Tony Gwynn and Ted Williams at Fenway Park sit in the golf cart. When you see those two incredible hitters in a golf cart, that tells you there's an awful lot of 300 averages and a mutual respect in terms of hitting is concerned. Okay, well, let's go to another pitching accomplishment, which I think is really cool too. Is that on August 10th, 1999, Tim Wakefield strikes out 4 batters in 1 inning. Warren, 4 batters in one inning.
That's amazing.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he had a nasty knuckleball, and that
Right.
was, I think it was Bob Euchre that said when he had to catch knuckleballs, he just let the ball hit the backstop and waited till it stopped rolling and picked it up. And that's what happened. Obviously, the catcher missed one and the guy got on to first base after striking out.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a shame that him and his wife passed away.
Right. That's terrible.
And I know a lot of people have heard that story. We'll talk more about it later on. But him and his wife passed away, and he's left with a daughter and a son.
Kids. Right.
And it sounds like they're doing okay with the other family members, and the Red Sox have taken them all in. But the Wakefields are a very inspiring story. Candy?
It's pretty amazing to think. I mean, how many times in history has that even been done? 4 strikeouts in one inning in MLB. It'd be an interesting stat to it's happened 99 times, actually. 93 players, but 4 players have done it twice, and 1 has done it 3 times. So it's pretty impressive. If you think along the lines of how many innings across how many games in MLB history.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Wakefield was just a heck of a player. Go ahead, Barry.
Knuckleball. That's all you got to say. Knuckleball, and the guy couldn't catch it. So that happens, especially if you got a knuckleball like Wakefield had.
I mean, you're a catcher. You ought to know how many knuckleballs did you have to go.
I caught more knuckleballs when I was coaching and catching in the bullpen with Charlie Huff and some others than I did as a player.
Really? Okay. Cool stuff. Okay, George. Charlie Huff.
That's an oddity. I know it's a rare thing. Striking out 4 in one inning. It is quite a feat. He only played in 1 All-Star game, but boy, oh boy, the Red Sox fans loved him, as we know. And the Hall of Fame at the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame welcomed him, and it was a tragic ending for him and his wife. And but that's a great achievement, Scott, to do that. And hats off to a guy that really, really earned his stripes and a good guy in baseball history.
Eric?
I don't know how that was possible to have 4 strikeouts in 1 inning. I mean, but Tim Wakefield, nasty knuckler. I mean, he threw it for a long time, and he was really, really good at it.
Clark?
Yeah. If there was a guy that I would bet on, a 4 strikeout guy, he would be a good one. Knowing a catcher that's got to go back there is asking for a day of bruises, maybe. I think that he probably would have been a good selection. Charlie Huff probably would have been a number 2.
There you go. Well, yeah, that's what you talk about. Yeah, rest in peace, Tim Wakefield and your wife. And I'm sure your kids are proud of you. And anybody associated with the game of baseball, it definitely feels that the game was better when Tim Wakefield was contributing to it for sure.
Yeah.
All right. David Ortiz was inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame in July 24th, 2022 as a DH. Is everybody okay with DHs getting in like this? Because David Ortiz obviously, I know that at times that people were suspecting he'd be on steroids, but he's one of those guys that knows how to go ahead and play the media pretty well and got along with them. So I don't know if he managed to get in or not. There's always a question mark there. So what would be your best guess on this one? Is David Ortiz a legitimate Hall of Famer, Warren?
Well, he's a Hall of Famer off the field, that's for sure. Because when they had the Boston Marathon and the problem with the Boston Marathon, he stepped up and led the charge of Boston's stay strong Boston. So, but it's hard for DHs, but he did play first base for a number of years, so he did play a position. But I don't know if his numbers are worthy of the Hall of Fame.
Fair enough, Candy.
It takes something special and to be a DH. And you think about, you're not playing the field. It's just, but your head has to really be in the game because you're only going up there and playing part of the game once every couple of innings, depending on where it is. Now, kudos to him for doing that. There are a couple of others that are kind of in the Hall of Fame that played. To be honest with you, Paul Molitor played more games at DH than he did at any other position during his career. And, so kudos. But yes, it takes something special to be able to have a Hall of Fame career as a DH.
What do you think, Barry?
Hall of Famer, October, 3 championships.
Yeah.
For me, he's a Hall of Famer, and he's been, he was good for the organization too. So that I think that counts for something.
I agree. Totally agree, Barry. Thank you. George?
Yeah, he finished 286 as average, 2,400 hits, 541 home runs. I think he's a Hall of Famer. He 10-time All-Star. And I know he's like a media darling now. I get that. And I mean, he's a great asset on that Fox pregame. But the fact of the matter is that I think there is room for designated hitters in the Hall of Fame. Not frequently. We waited a long time on relief pitchers, and we waited a very long time on DHs. But yeah, I think it's a part of the game.
Eric?
Yeah. I mean, he averaged 30 to 50 home runs a season. Plus, look what he did, and look what the damage he did in October. And he won multiple championships with the Red Sox. I mean, why shouldn't a DH be in the Hall of Fame? I mean, they still got to go up to the plate and hit. I mean, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. And David Ortiz did that at a very high level for a long time, even in his last year with the Red Sox. So, but yeah, I don't see why we shouldn't have a DH in the Hall of Fame. I mean, they still got to go up there and hit. And if they put up the numbers, got to put them in.
Okay. Trent?
Big fan of Big Papi. I agree with everyone about he is Boston's son. He's a good media guy, but I also believe he's listed in the Mitchell report. I'm pretty assured.
Right.
And so if we're going to talk and start comparison that game, then I can tell you, if I got a team and we're going to pick sides, I'm taking Barry Bonds over that guy all day long. Because Barry Bonds is a lot better player than that guy. So, and I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm just saying if we're talking Hall of Fame, I'm embarrassed if Big Papi gets in and Barry Bonds is not.
Great points. And I'll tell you one thing. Anybody know that I believe that Ortiz started off with the Minnesota Twins and they let him go and then Boston picked him up. So,
yeah,
he leads the Minnesota Twins. He does pretty well with the Red Sox, and the rest is history, as Barry and everybody else alluded to. His postseason success was unbelievable. I had heard someone to that effect trying to put the Mitchell report. So, again, I'm still not. I mean, Barry Bonds I could get in with a different vote, although I'm still hoping Don Mattingly gets in, and I'm praying that Donnie gets in. All right, let's go to Dylan Cease. Was not traded at the deadline. Where are some possible destinations for the Padres pitcher? Warren, would you have any idea where you think Dylan Cease could go?
Well, there's a number of teams. Everybody's going to be in the market they're always in the market for starting pitchers, and he's got a great track record. The Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, the Giants. There's going to be a lot of teams bidding for his services.
Candy?
Yeah, they're a good quality starting pitcher is it's a gem, and you can't find a lot of those. It just depends on if the price tag is right for some of these other teams, as opposed to obviously the ones that can spend a whole lot of money. But the Dodgers proved that starting pitching, obviously in the World Series, helped them win it all. I mean, that was how they won it was with their starting pitching.
Barry?
Yeah, I think that, you got a lot of teams that are in the hunt and a lot of teams with money. The Giants, they haven't signed anybody, lately, and they've got a lot of money. So, yeah, there's plenty of places for him to land, and he's a quality starter. He'll go somewhere and make a lot of money.
George?
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it, Barry. I mean, there's so many teams that need pitching right now. I know the Tigers are in the market for another starter. There's you go around the league. I mean, San Francisco all over the place. San Diego should try to sign him, keep him there, but we don't know if that's going to be a possibility. But I think, I'm very high on him. He's got some great stuff. I like him as a pitcher, and he's still got a lot good stuff left in it for sure.
Eric?
Dylan Cease obviously has put together a solid career for himself in baseball. First beginning with the White Sox, then with the Padres. As far as free agency goes, I could see him going. I could see him going to the Giants. He'd be playing in a pitcher-friendly ballpark. I think it'd be a good fit for him. Logan Webb needs a Robin, and so I think Dylan Cease would be a perfect guy.
I like that. Logan Webb needs a Robin. Okay, Clarky. That was good, Eric. Good job, man.
Man, obviously, if he's got Boris as his agent, then he's brushing up his resume for the top bidder, which will likely be New York or LA. And so it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. I think Seattle might make a little bid. They made some money this year. They got a little money to spend. Obviously, to Barry's point, like San Francisco's always in the game. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see if the Padres actually held all their pitchers, what they would be right now, because they'd be a force.
Well, during our next show, when we do this again in about 2 weeks, I'm going to talk about all the players that the Padres shipped away at the trade deadline. But that'll come after this one, because God only knows they traded a lot of them. Yeah, I mean, the market's wide open for him. I think San Francisco and anything where he could go where the pitcher's park makes an awful lot of sense. And there's a few of those places. Hey, you never know. Seattle could be in play as well for him. Again, pitcher's park is the key to this whole thing. So let's talk about the fact that the Padres acquired Ryan O'Hearn from the Baltimore Orioles. Let's examine the trade. Anybody what are your thoughts about it, Warren?
Well, the Padres, that was one of their weak links was a catcher. They needed catching, and he fit the bill for them. That made him stronger once he came in and started playing every day. And it was a great shed for the Padres. It was a good move that they made. With something that they needed.
Candy?
Yeah, I mean, it worked out like it. I'm not as familiar with that trade, Scott. I'll admit.
Don't worry about it. Okay, Barry, we know you and I know a thing or two about catchers.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had a good solid year. I think he hit 17, 18 home runs and did a good job. So it was a good acquisition for sure.
George?
Yeah, I mean, when you get that kind of hitting from a catcher, and like you mentioned, Barry, almost 20 homers, but I think he's got a lot of great years ahead of him, man. He's a great find, and I think that's going to be a good thing for him in his career. The next move, we don't know, but he's done well. He's done very well for himself. I like him.
Eric?
It was, as far as the Ryan O'Hearn move, I thought it was a good move for San Diego. He's a good bat. He's he did some good things offensively. He can play a little bit of first base. I think, he set himself up for a decent payday come free agency. I thought Baltimore had to make the move because they weren't going anywhere, and so they gave him to San Diego, and he did some good things for him.
All right, Trent, you're able to comment on this? I don't know where he's at, but
yeah, I would say that another kind of difference maker position in the playoffs. Like if you get a guy who can actually kind of show up, we saw this with a couple of players this year. It's an unheralded position that always kind of ends up being significant when it all comes down and shakes out. So, it'd be interesting to see if you could get. Now, is San Diego going to be a playoff team? So that's a big question, but. I like his. I like the move for San Diego. I think it's good for them. Hopefully, it's just not another player who bolsters a value and then leaves again.
Anytime you can bolster the backstop, it's a great move, and I think they did fine there. All right, the Tigers traded for Detroit native and 2024 All-Star Kyle Finnegan, who is now a free agent. Does he resign in Motown? Because I know at one point they replaced him on the IL with a right abductor strain, but he did make it back for the playoffs. We'll start with you. Do you think that Kyle Finnegan will be back in Detroit? If not, or where do you think he can wind up?
Well, he was, he missed half the season, right in the middle of the season, but he did well when he was healthy, and I'm sure the Tigers want him back without question. He was mainstay in that bullpen, so I'd say he stays in Detroit. They're going to do everything they can to re-sign him.
Candy?
I think Detroit has a lot of question marks because they obviously have to pay Tarek Skubal a lot of money. So
Right.
whether they can retain a lot of these other pitchers or not will be the key. Hopefully they'll be able to, but only time and money and contracts will tell.
And again, Scott Boras is a big part of the whole thing too, with Skubal. Barry?
Oh yeah, I think that they're going to try to sign him, but it comes down to, what's their budget going to be for Skubal? You're going to have to dig 30 to 40 million a year for him.
Yeah.
Then what you're going to have left over. But yeah, he pitched well for them, so I'm sure they want him back.
George, you're close to it.
A lot of people forget that he was actually born in Detroit, Michigan.
I just mentioned it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
34 years old. And yeah, I mean, you could tell that AJ liked him. I mean, and he got along well with Dingler, the catcher. I mean, they had a good relationship and still do. And the question mark again is going to be how much he's going to want and how much are they going to be able to sign him for if they can. But I think that they realize that there's still a lot of question marks in that Tiger bullpen. So I would think it would be wise for the Tigers to make every effort to keep Kyle Finnegan in the fold.
Eric?
I mean, Kyle Finnegan was really nice down the stretch for the Tigers. I mean, I think with that, I think what would have happened was had the Tigers not made that move, they might have their embarrassing choke job in the AL Central might actually result in them not going to the playoffs. But he's a good closer. Obviously, the Tigers, he's open to coming back. I would imagine the Tigers will do everything they can to bring him back, but that's more of a question to the younger Ilitch what he wants to do. But there's going to be some teams that are going to want him as well. I know the Dodgers definitely need some help in their closer spot because Tanner Scott was a complete bust for them last year, and also besides for him, the Cubs could definitely make a move for him. And don't forget the Diamondbacks need a closer too because the Diamondbacks bullpen was a disaster last year.
Yeah, I've even heard comments that he could go to the Miami Marlins. You never know. The Marlins might be spending a little bit of money since they only finished 4 games under 500. And by the way, when we start I have a pretty good lineup coming up for Saturdays as well, as I'll have a bunch of my colleagues in Miami joining me on that show. So stay tuned for some updates as there. Trent, some thoughts about Kyle Finnegan?
Yeah, I think he's obviously he's a fit in Detroit. Loves it, born there. So it all makes sense. To Barry's point, I don't know if there's any money left over for him. So he may have to work for pizzas because, maybe they'll cut him in on some Little Caesars franchises. I don't know, because he's going to go home and maybe they'll give him some equity in the pizza business. I don't know, but it's not going to come in dollars. I don't think they've got what it takes to sign him if they keep Skubal.
Interesting point. Well, it just depends on how much he wants to, and again, his injury at the end of the year didn't help matters any either. So, is there a hometown discount? I don't know, but they certainly could use them. You'd hate to think that the Tigers, everything they did at the trade deadline, would go all for naught. That you can't even retain 1 or 2 of those players. All right, so we're gonna step off baseball for a second. Go to something that we have a lot of leaders in this group. So I'm gonna go to college basketball for a quick second. Calvin Sampson, the head coach of the University of Houston, offered some words of wisdom, saying no one loses anything as long as they don't quit. And then what do you think happened? In June, he got a contract extension. How valid is that, Warren? I mean, do you think? I think Coach Sampson is definitely in line when he says that.
Right. Oh, I agree. Totally. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. He's right on the mark. Yeah, because I mean the money that's being handed out now in the NCAA, they finally opened up the pocketbook and they're paying the players, and the coaches are making great living. So it's don't quit, just keep doing your job and do the best you can at it.
There you go, Candy.
Quitters never win, and winners never quit. So yeah, you gotta. That's a good quote. You have to keep going and shooting for whatever you can and put everything into it you can. Try and win.
Yeah. Well, every now and then I'll throw these little curveballs in here. Barry, obviously you're a manager. You probably preach this 9 million times over, haven't you?
No, I like Sampson. He's a North Carolina boy. Grew up dirt poor an Indian area. I think he has Indian blood in him himself. So yeah, he's a good man.
Okay. George.
Yeah, I think that's a very good statement. I think he is a very good man and a very good, darn good coach too. And I admire him, and that those are words for the wise. Really, those are words for athletes to take to heart. Definitely.
Eric.
I mean, definitely agree with him all the way. I mean, it's clearly helped him make Houston. It's clearly helped him make Houston, relevant again. They're kind of. I don't believe they've been this good since Hakeem and Clyde were on that hardwood. But I agree with them all the way.
Okay. Clarky.
Yeah, I like that reference to the old Clyde Drexler days. Thank you, Cassie. Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm a big fan of Coach Sampson. I think he's just a upright guy. I think it's always one of those things where, it's where you want your kid to grow and be a man. And he's a guy, I think, who really develops young men. And he's won everywhere he's went, winning record. I think it comes back. We heard some nice little quotes here, and I think it's you win or you learn, right? So if we don't win, we want to maximize our effort, get everything out, and learn why we didn't win. And I think Sampson's really good on that, which is why he's proven he's probably coaching at like an 85% win ratio, right? So I think his boys do learn, and he's good at teaching. So impressive coach. Congrats to the University of Houston. I think they really got, a Hall of Fame coach there.
Yeah, we're actually I'll bring Bing in this quote tag on Inside the Pitch in tomorrow. I like it so much. Why not let everybody else get their taste of it as well? All right, one more topic before we go to a station break. On August 31st, 2006, get this, Jim Leland stops mid-argument to honor America during God Bless America. Then he did get ejected from the game. How do you like that one? If that isn't true American stuff, Warren, I don't know. Jim Leland stops. No longer God bless, and then he's out of there.
Yeah. Well, Jim Leland's a classic guy. I had the fortune of the month I spent with the White Sox. He was our third base coach. So I got to know Jim a little bit. Great guy. Just a wonderful, and then got the manager's job, was successful everywhere he went, and that's Jim Leland in a nutshell right there.
I worked with him for quite a few years, and I'm proud of the pictures I got with Jim and the things that he taught me. Candy?
Stand-up guy. Yeah, I mean, it's great. Yeah, Leland had such a good storied career. He's in Hall of Fame, and even down here, I know the Marlins recognized him this past year or the year before. So yeah, great human being.
Barry?
Well, was a great manager. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, and I think doing what he did shows his patriotism, but also shows you how strategic arguing really is. That he didn't lose his temper to get thrown out. There was a strategic reason why he was out there, and so that I think shows you that.
Oh, George.
Yeah. A great guy, he really is, and he admires the servicemen and women that serve our country, and also he has great respect for first responders. I know every time the Tigers had a ceremony, which most teams do now every year, to respect either the military and or the first responders, Jim was always out there and talking to people before the game and the servicemen and women that helped out. He always had a great response. I don't think that's a surprising thing at all. In fact, I think it would be downright rude and stupid of somebody to continuing arguing if he did not do that. But the fact that you guys have all mentioned it, the Jim was a class guy. It still is. He loves the game, and the game loves him.
How did he stop an argument for God Bless America? Come on, George. Get a life, Sal. He stopped for God Bless America. That become a seventh inning thing. How many games do you stay past the seventh inning? Sixth inning. I know you like to leave early. Here, let me tell you the life of a sports writer named George Eichhorn. Okay, get this. Get to the game. I've learned. Get this, Barry. Okay, this was way back in the day when we were doing this together. It's different. This guy will get there. Oh, I know everybody from Detroit Sports Media. Let's say that work and do all this good stuff. And by the time seventh inning, eighth, I'm ready to leave. He don't care about post game. You sick of it. I can show you a thing about post game. I've been involved with some most interesting post game situations on the planet, including one that happened Saturday night, which I won't get into. All I know is I'm a Miami sports writer, right, Candy? The Miami guy. What do they call me on Saturday?
Miami sports writer is good enough.
I'm a Miami sports writer, people, and I'm teaching some things about postseason. But I'll tell you, for all those that want to know about the Miami sports writer thing, it's going in the book. Oh, I got a doozy for you people. All right, Eric, this is something you don't. This is different than slamming a paper on a desk, I'm going to tell you. So I'm not teaching you this thing. You just don't teach this stuff. Okay, go ahead. Talk with Jim Leland.
Well, I was expecting you to slam your post game interview notes on George's desk. But yeah, well, nowadays you slam the clicker down on your computer to send it. But
seriously.
But yeah, Jim, I remember when this happened though. I mean, it just comes to show you just how much of a class guy Jim Leland is. I mean, he knows he's grateful. He's said publicly before he's grateful for all service men and women. So it's no surprise that he would do that. I mean, storied career, turned around the Pirates, turned around got the Tigers back to the postseason for the first time in God knows how long at that point, and he also took the Marlins. He also won a World Series with the Marlins. So all in all, though, he's the gold standard when it comes to managers, and most memorably too. There was nothing more great than seeing him crush a heater in the dugout.
I don't have an answer for that. All I can tell you before I go to Clarkie is he's human. He only lasted 1 year in Colorado and got out of there when he knew that he couldn't play wiffle. He's able to manage baseball, not wiffle ball, out in Colorado. So he was a one and done there. But go ahead, Trent. You can finish up Jim Leland.
Yeah, I think you guys have said it all. The one thing I really gained a lot of insight. Never didn't coach much against Leland's teams, but one of the great insights I got was from a book called The Chicken Runs at Midnight about one of the coaches and the backstory of his life. And he was a huge Leland guy, and Leland is a big influence on this coach in his life, and they kind of intertwine him in the story. It's a fabulous story. Highly recommend it. And as usual, Jim Leland shines as the man he truly is. So it's great to see that even some of the biography stories tell the same tale that all the sports writers, all the coaches that coached with him, and very consistent, authentic guy.
Okay, time to go to a station break. When we come back, we're going to talk some Philadelphia Phillies. Mr. Philly himself, Warren Prince's on the broadcast. Got some more Philly hay for my Uncle Warren. Go ahead, Candy.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, and the foreword was written by another panelist here, Mr. George Eichhorn. They both did an awesome job. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you want to advertise or be a guest on the show, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you see the red subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to our channel. What are you waiting for? Just do it. Click it, like us, share us, and then turn on your notifications and tell all your friends about it. Back to you, Scott.
All right, great stuff. I don't know, Trent, you have a hard out at 10. Is that what you usually have, is a hard out at 10? Or are you able to stay a little longer tonight?
9 Eastern. I got to go.
Oh, okay. I don't know where you're at, but anyways. Okay, 9 Eastern.
8 minutes.
That's right. That's right. 9 Eastern. I'm sorry. It's only 8:52 because we're starting early. I'm a little messed up with my clock stuff. All right. Let's go to this. The Phillies all-time lineup. We're going to actually start off with Trent on this one. Who's missing is always the question that I'd like to ask everybody. And that's this. I'm going to go over the outfields. Bobby Abreu, Lenny Dykstra, Richie Ashburn, third base. Then is Mike Schmidt, Jimmy Rollins at shortstop, second baseman Chase Utley. Ryan Howard is your first baseman. Starting pitcher Steve Carlton. Your relief guy is Tug McGraw. Catcher Darren Dalton. DH Bryce Harper. And your manager is Charlie Manuel. All right, Trent, who's missing?
Man, love Charlie Manuel. Greg Luzinski, come on, where's he at? Like in the outfield. Big McBride, man, that 81 team. There's some guys, man. Pete Rose, he's a Philly.
There you
Man,
go. That's plenty.
that's
You got
yeah.
you got one.
I
but
think those are my guys.
Yeah, you got three. All right, Patsy.
You forgot Jim Tomei, and you
Ooh,
yep, you forgot about
thanks, man.
Bob Boone. You forgot about Bob
All right,
Boone.
come on. We got other people on here. You guys are okay, but all right, good.
And
So we
then
got Jim.
and also Pat Burrell.
I only asked for a
Ooh.
couple. I didn't say not. I mean, all right. All right. Anyway, don't worry. I know Warren will have plenty. Go ahead, George.
What about Delahanty? You guys remember
Who?
Delahanty on the Phillies? No. Okay.
No.
Did you say you said Chase Utley already? Did you?
No.
Utley?
you can have-
Yeah, Chase Utley was on he was on the starting team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Manny Trio was
Right.
not. Just
Oh, yeah.
scoring.
How many do you want? You got to get off at 9.
I'm done.
All right, Barry. I don't know how many are left because these guys stole them all.
I mean, you got to have Luzinski in there when he was in his prime.
Yeah.
He was probably more feared than Schmitty was, as far as in about a 3 or 4 year period. I know Warren and I played with both of those guys at the same time, and Bull was the power guy of both leagues there for about 3 years. So I couldn't have a team there without Luzinski. And they won a World Series with Luzinski. And we probably would have gone to another World Series if we'd have taken him out of left field the night that he was out there in the ball
Friday.
and behind him. So, but I like Bull, as part of the all-time team.
Yeah, Greg Luzinski was a heck of a player. That's for sure. Okay, Candy.
Did you say how about Cole Hamels and
Ooh.
Robin Roberts?
Yeah, that's what I was going to.
Wait, Cole Hamilton. Who?
Mm. Robin Roberts.
Robert
Roberts.
Roberts.
Oh, yeah, there you go. All right. Go ahead, Warren.
That was just
Well,
Warren. That was Warren's trump card, man.
Well, one of my favorite people that I was ever around in baseball was Tony Taylor. TT was the greatest, Barry, you can. Yeah.
Really great guy,
Yeah,
great baseball man.
Yes. Yeah. He was special. So he's my one that was left off. He's got to be in there somewhere.
All right, I'm going to throw something really off the wall here. And I'll tell you what, this is about as off the wall as you can get.
Fanatic.
Not an all-time great player, but he's an all-time great story. His name is Von Hayes, everybody.
All right, the stick.
Ooh,
And I'll tell you why I'm putting Von Hayes on here.
Yeah.
Because when I went to Jack Russell Stadium and one of these Phillies people went up there, hey, Von Hayes, blah, 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 and they gave this guy a hard time, everybody said that Steve Carl wouldn't talk. Von is my man, people. I went out, I need to talk to this guy, and he was nice enough to give me an interview during spring training. And if that isn't good enough, let's have Dallas Green, who managed these guys, right?
Right.
So,
Dallas Green. Good one.
Dallas Green.
Dallas Green.
But
Good
Von
biography.
Hayes, wait a minute, Trent, you want to get off on time? Let me finish, okay? I'm almost done. Well, that's all right. But Von Hayes, I think he was traded like 5 or 6 people for one. And
Yes.
boy, I'll tell you, Barry, when you have lofty expectations out there, it's unbelievable. And by the way, let's not forget about the fact that Willie Hernandez and what was his name, Bergman, were traded.
Dave Bergman.
Yeah, Dave Bergman were traded, but we're not putting them on there. But Von Hayes and Dallas Green. All right, Clark, we got enough time to let you go out there and say what you need to say about your book. Go ahead.
Wasn't Reggie Jackson of Philadelphia A? Wasn't he? Wasn't there something? What was his early age?
He was a Philadelphia for a second there, until they moved
Yeah.
to Kansas.
All right, Clark,
Amen.
promote the
Yeah.
books. You got to pick up your kid.
Yeah, hey,
Go ahead.
hey everyone, you can find me at Trent@leadershipity.com. Please email me anytime. My cell phone's 480-710-3712. Give me a call. If you're a moron, I will block you. I did write this book, Leading Winning Teams, and I do have a podcast called Winners Find a Way, and you can find that on all the major networks. I'm always thrilled to be on the baseball shows with the Motor City Mad Mouth and this talented crew.
Well, you're on them, and we're glad to have you. All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks from tonight. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, Trent, and be safe picking up your kid. But we'll be back in 2 weeks. All right. Now there are 6, and now we will talk about a no-hitter, and that's this. The no-hitter of the night is Matt Cain throws a perfect game on June 13th, 2012, in the first in Giants history. Okay, your thoughts on this one, Warren?
Oh, what a thrill! Couldn't happen to a greater pitcher. You know, he started kind of having a tough time, and he revamped his workout program and what he did to prepare himself. And this was one of the first times that since he changed his routine that he'd pitched, and he throws a perfect game. You know, it was great. You know, and I was fortunate. I was listening to the last couple innings. I was coaching junior college baseball at the time, and we had a night class on a Monday night or Tuesday night, whatever day it was. And went over to a local restaurant and got to see the last couple innings. Man, what a thrill! Great for a San Francisco icon. Just it was an all-time great pitcher for the Giants.
Okay, Candy.
Despite already having 13 no-hitters in franchise history, no Giants pitcher had ever thrown a perfect game until Cain. Cain struck out 14 batters in his quest for perfection, tying Sandy Koufax for the most strikeouts in a perfect game since 1900. 11 of his 14 strikeouts came on fastballs, 7 of which were of the looking variety. What a performance. I mean, anytime you are a no-hitter but yet a perfect game, those are so rare. I've never actually seen a perfect game myself, but kudos to him.
I nearly saw one with Dave Steve. If it wasn't for a stupid rock at Cleveland Municipal Stadium, I would have done it. Oh my God! I'm glad they knocked that place down. That cost me a history. Barry?
Oh, good. He had great stuff. He threw a lot of fastballs up in the zone, which would make him really effective today because the guys can't hit the ball above their waist anymore. But yeah, he had good stuff. Not shocking that he threw a no-hitter. Pretty shocking to strike out 14 in a perfect game. Yeah. But he did have really good stuff.
George?
Yeah, I don't remember too much about that game, but it says that Melky Cabrera made a running catch at the wall in left field, top of the 6th inning. And also Gregor Blanco made a diving catch in right center field to start the top of the 7th. So, you know, every time there's a no-hitter or a perfect game, you know, you're always going to have several outstanding plays. So right. This obviously had that as well. Big crowd on hand, too, 42,000. And hats off to a really good umpire, now retired. Ted Barrett was behind the plate for this game. And but hats off to he was a good pitcher. I really liked him. He really was.
Well, he's got Melky Cabrera and Gregor Blanco to thank for making all that possible. So, but you know, Matt Cain that day was just, you know, it was just one of those days where he was just on. Every pitch he threw was just unhittable. I mean, it was one of those moments too. It was actually a year after Jonathan Sanchez threw a no-hitter of his own. But you know, the fact that he had a perfect game, you know, it was just unbelievable. And the fact that you know, he was able to do that and put himself in baseball in baseball lore is just terrific in and of itself.
Yeah, well, bottom line is Giants got a perfect game out of it. Detroit nearly got one with Armando Galarraga. They still don't have one, but hopefully they'll get one of these days.
Oh,
but it was quite an accomplishment for Matt Cain for sure. And now, as time goes on, Barry and Warren, I'm going to be mentioning more and more no-hitters. This one just stood out. So I love mentioning no-hitters because we all know full well they are a big part of the game. All right, we're going to do a little change of pace, and let's talk about on September 14th, the movie Hardball gets released. Any recollections of Hardball? Did you like that movie, Warren?
I never saw it. I can't.
I never did. Okay.
No, I can't comment on that.
Oh, no big deal. Candy?
I did not see. I don't think I've seen that one either.
What about you, Barry?
Nope. I got to pass.
Oh, that's all right. I have a feeling you're not the only one to be passing on this topic. All right, George, did you see it?
Hardball. I never
you-
saw it either, Scott. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you're the one person who's going to research it, even if you didn't.
Is this
see it.
really a
Yeah.
movie? Is this really a movie?
Yeah.
Was it really? Yeah, it was.
It was.
Okay, here you go. The budget was 32 million and they grossed 44.1 million on that movie. Very successful movie.
Yeah, somebody's got to sound smart on this panel because I didn't see it either. So, what about you, Kathy? You going to bail us out of this one?
Sorry, I know of the movie, but I never saw it. I mean, try Bull Durham or Major League instead.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. All right. Oh, that was good. Sorry, people. We don't know a lot about hardball, but we're playing hardball with our answers because, I have to admit, I can't sit in a movie theater. I've been told how many times to shut up. George ought to know because I've been kicked out of a field because I get too fidgety, and poor Candy's never been in one with me. So because I'm the result of some, fidgety, high energy behavior in there. Because I think these movies too loud, and all of a sudden a lot of people, regardless of what they're doing in the movie theater, don't like the way I'm thinking if they're doing other business. And I don't want to come into the TMI information, but go ahead, Eric.
I was gonna say though, it's hard for me to picture you in a movie theater.
That's why you watch them at home, people.
And matter of fact, I think I know I know another reason for why you don't like Cleveland Municipal Stadium because you were probably freezing right next to the lake.
No, actually, I wasn't. At that time, it was in July or August, and that stupid stone was at second base. I'll never forget it. Ding Steve had this thing going right in the ninth inning. What do you think? The ball hits a stone and into right field. Oh my God! There goes my place of history. Oh well, it is what it is. But we're not playing hardball tonight. A lot of us didn't know. The only one that was close enough to smart enough was Icorn to at least research it. But hardball gets released. I guess Candy maybe we'll have to go ahead and watch it one of these times when I can sit still and not do other sports stuff. All right.
That's
Well, I'll tell you
impossible.
what. We have a couple non-sports topics of the night and some more baseball ones to go to. But get this. Once upon a time, Albert Einstein was offered the presidency, people, of Israel in 1959, but he declined. Oh, my gosh. I'll tell you. Where did he come up with this? Where all my sources are. What are your thoughts, Warren? Albert Einstein didn't want to be president of Israel in 1959.
Whoa, that would have been great for them. Where would they be today? No telling.
Great answer. I like that. Andy, I like that answer, Uncle Warren.
When Israel President Chaim Weizmann died in 1952, Einstein was asked to be Israel's second president, but he declined, stating that he had neither the natural ability nor the experience to deal with human beings. He wrote, "I am deeply moved by the offer from our state of Israel." So he knew that he was not a people person and not a political person. So smart man in more ways than one.
Well, Barry, what's your take on this one?
He was too smart to take that job. I agree. That's a tough job, and it still is a tough job.
Yeah. Okay. Great answer. Okay, George.
Well, he actually died in 1955, so he didn't take the job, but he didn't have that many more years left. I did not know that. Right after they turned that down, a couple of years, and he had died. But what can you say? I mean, this guy is such a genius. I mean, there's incredible smarts. I mean, this guy is a phenomenal leader. I'm sure they would have done very, very well with him. But that's a decision he made. It wasn't for him, he said.
Eric.
Well, I'm sure like Albert Einstein showed how human he is like everyone else, because some days we don't want to deal with people. But I did not know that about him. But yeah, good. I mean, he was, in hindsight, it was probably good of him to do that, just because he wasn't, he didn't have much to give afterward. But yeah, as far as him not wanting to deal with people, I can't say I blame him some days.
Oh, the man was in his banner. That's all I have to say. He was doing other stuff, but
Yeah.
more power to him. At least he was offered the job anyway. So that's why I made the show tonight. I wanted to have something lighthearted. As one of my co-hosts on Saturdays, Gabriel Garcia, says it's a change of pace topic. So All right. Well, we're going to go. We're going to talk about a little bit of footwear tonight. Okay, we're not going to ice. We're going to go footwear tonight, which is and that's this. Okay, get this. Checkers was founded by Robert Greenberg in 1992. He had just left L.A. Gear, a company he also started after it collapsed. His plan this time was simple: focus on casual, comfortable shoes for everyone. In the beginning, Checkers didn't design its own products. They sold actually Dr. Mertens as a distributor. They launched a shoe of their own called the Chrome Dome boot. It became a hit, and Greenberg didn't chase trends. He focused on affordable everyday shoes, while Nike and Adidas targeted athletes. Skechers went after the average consumer. All right, Warren, what are your thoughts about the Skechers brand?
Well, it's all I've never worn a pair, but all I've heard is good things about it. You know, that's apparently they're good. They're good for your feet. You know, our feet are very, very important.
Candy?
So I've said this before. I'm on my feet a lot during the day, and years ago I did not wear Skechers, and I had issues with my legs, my knees, my feet bothering me when I would come home. Since I have switched to Skechers, I no longer have any of those issues, at least at this point. So as far as I'm concerned, they're a very good shoe. They're very comfortable. They're easy to get in and out of. One of the things I like obviously you can literally just step right into the shoe. So you're not having to bend down, touch a shoe if it's wet or dirty, if it's the rain or if it would be the snowy season. So for that reason, and that makes it very easy. Like if you're going to visit somebody's house, so many people don't want you to wear your shoes in their house. It makes it very easy to take them on and off, and very quickly as well.
Barry?
If Candy endorses them, I'm good, and if Howie Long endorses them, I'm good. So I'm a Skechers fan. I don't ever wear them. I don't have any Skechers, but I'm good with them.
Thanks, Barry.
Yeah, Barry, I'll tell you, Howie Long is pretty good, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
George, that was good, Barry. I'll tell you, you're doing good at this broadcasting, everything with your nice low key sense of humor. I love you, man. You know that we've been doing this for years. I'll tell you, you're the best. Howie Long. Maybe you get to my answer afterwards. Go ahead, George.
Just to back you up a little bit more, Candy, not that you needed any backup, but some podiatrists recommend certain Skechers models, particularly those with their Arc Fit technology, while others are hesitant about many of their standard models due to a lack of support. But the recommendation is there. And you're right, Candy, I'm glad it worked out for you. It was something that helped you out with your constant walking and on your job and everything. So I'll take it from you. And then also, like I said, the podiatrists that they talk to at Skechers, and they've got a lot of them that they talk to, obviously, when the designs are happening, they recommend that as one of the best shoes around. I'll stand by that. I've never had a pair, but I'll stand by that. Or should I sit?
Maybe I'll send you my hand-me-down so I can have excuses to get new ones. Just kidding with you. He'll drive the bookkeeper and the family crazy when I say that. Go ahead, Eric. I just have to get her go.
Well, I know. I mean, I've heard nothing but I've never owned a pair. Heard nothing but good things about them. I mean, if Joe Montana likes them, I guess I can like them.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, the bookkeeper of the group knows I have a lot of them. I should own stock in those things. I have a lot of them because I like the different colors depending on what I use every day. And I have a lot of Skechers back, but we'll spread the Skechers wealth around all the different shows and not bog this one down. But it's pretty cool stuff. I'll tell you one thing: Skechers and my raggedy knees worked out pretty good. All right, well, let's talk about one more Ichiro stat. He set the single season record for the most hits at 262 in a season in 2004 by breaking Hall of Famer George Sisler's 84-year-old record, 257 in 1920. All right, Warren, what else can we say about Ichiro?
Yeah, it's a great hitter. You know, he was a singles. Speed was his game. Hit the ball and run. You know, he could probably hit a ground ball, two hopper to second base and beat it out. You know, so he had a great career, and you know, the Hall of Famer. You know, I can't say enough about him. He was a great player.
Candy.
You know, again, he won 7 consecutive batting titles. You know, just a great all-around hitter. Could put the ball wherever he wanted. You know, hit it where it was pitched and then run as quickly as he can. He had a lot of speed on the base, which made it, which helped him. He wasn't afraid to bunt. Like, wherever he needed to, however he needed to get on, he could. So kudos.
Barry.
Well, he was a great hitter, and he was also a great outfielder with a great arm. So he was the all-around player. I think he's in the Hall of Fame in Japan and here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I'd hate to even say this, overall, I think he had more hits than Rose total in 2
I
leagues.
think he did. Mm-hmm.
But Pete's still the hit leader in my opinion. But you know, it just shows to show you what a great hitter he was. There's no question about it.
Now, it's interesting that Barry, that we have him on the same show in addition to talking Tony Gwynn, and I mentioned Ted Williams. You talk about 3 of the best hitters of all time. We had 3 of them that we talked about tonight. George.
Yeah, that's a tremendous achievement. It says that, you know, he had 200 hits in each of his first 4 seasons in the MLB. But of course, we know he had great stats, as you mentioned, Barry, and we've mentioned before when he was still playing in Asia. But yeah, this guy was phenomenal. And I mean, to be able to break George Sisler, that's a name way back in the past, baseball greats. And he finished at, it says 372 that year. Can you imagine 372 in that year that he set that record, which was 262 hits? Unbelievable. Great hitter. Great guy.
Eric.
I mean, you know, I remember when Ichiro first came into the league, and he broke that record. But yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. He's very deserving of it. I think he was the first superstar in Major League Baseball from Japan. So we're all raving about Otani now, but Ichiro was essentially doing it before it was cool.
Yeah, he sure was. What a heck of a player. That's why I spent so much time on him. I want everybody to appreciate the greatness that Ichiro brings in. And in the future shows, we're going to talk about some Japanese players that are going to be coming out. So and I have 2 more topics I want to get to. Just to give everybody an overview, we're going to talk about in future shows. We're going to talk about umpires. We're going to talk about no hitters, as well as a lot of the ABS things that will be coming forward in 2026. So stay tuned. 2 more topics to get to. We started with a Hall of Famer, and we're going to have 3 more that we're going to talk about. Let's talk about the fact that Bob Gibson pitched more complete games, 255, than he had wins, 251. Add Bob Feller to the list, 266 wins, and he had 279 complete games. Warren, these are pretty good players.
Right. Yeah. And that was back in the day when pitchers pitched complete games.
Yeah.
You know, I remember talking to Robin Roberts one day, and he had 27 complete games in a row.
Wow.
I mean, it's amazing. But that's what those guys did. I remember as a little boy listening to opening day, Juan Marichal and Bob Veal, 15 innings. And Warren Spahn and Juan Marichal hooked up and went 15 innings. You know, it was nothing for a starting pitcher. You know, I was fortunate to be a starting pitcher in the minor leagues for 2 years. And I looked at it as I got to play every 5th day. I'm going to play as long as I can. So I had 27 starts one year and 19 complete games. And the other year I had like 25 starts and 18 complete games, something, you know, because I wanted to play the whole game. I wasn't coming out. Manager come out. I'm not coming out. Not until the game's decided. I'm not leaving the field.
I have 1 word for you, Warren. Cheers.
Yeah.
We miss that stuff these days, Candy.
Yeah.
And by the way, one guy we forgot to mention with the Phillies is Jim Bunning.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
My agent. He was my agent.
Oh, was he really?
Yes.
No kidding. Well, Jim Bunning's in. All right, Candy. I didn't know that. He was an agent. Cool. Great stuff.
I mean, complete games are a thing that has gone by the wayside. with analytics, they don't let people stay in for complete games. So these are stats that are going to stand the test of time. And kudos to them, because it takes a lot for a pitcher to dominate all. Let's face it, the analytics say the third time up through the batting lineup, the hitters have the advantage at that point. And so for these pitchers to have pitched complete games and gone through the lineup, you're talking 3-4 times in a complete game. Kudos to them.
Barry?
Well, I got to face Gibson early in my career, and he was at the end of his. He didn't have the kind of stuff he had when he was really good. I did see him pitch in '71 when he was still really good. That was from the stands in Montreal. But he was unbelievable. Feller, I actually caught Feller, but it was in the minor leagues, and he was thrown out the first pitch, and I was the manager. So I didn't realize, he was a surly sort of guy. He had a little bit of issues with the guys making money, and that was before they really started making money. And he didn't have a chance to make that kind of money. And he was making the circuits going around for whatever they paid him, $300 or $400 a night to come out and throw out some first pitches. But he was a war hero and missed about, I think, 3 or 4 of prime seasons where he was going to win 20 games a year. So he's a special guy. And Bunning, when I was coming up, Warren, he was a manager in the Phillies organization. So I played against him in AA ball. So I got to see a lot of those guys. When you're old and play a long time, you get to see a lot of guys.
Great stuff, Barry. And by the way, Barry, you talk about Bob Feller. I actually got to spend time with him when I was at Gastonia Rangers. He was a good friend of a guy by the name of Jack Farnsworth when we were both in the South Atlantic League. I think, weren't you managing Myrtle Beach at the time?
I was.
Yeah, and you won a championship over there. Well, my Gastonia Rangers had all these players that lost 90 some odd games. Oh my God!
They have, they had Sosa, Rodriguez, and Palmer. They had 3 really good. I remember writing up the reports that year and saying, these guys got some great potential prospects here.
Yeah, they were potential to the point where they lost 90 some games, and I was their director of public relations. And what happened was the owners didn't want to spend money on a bag of dirt the last game of the year. That's what I was up against there. And Sammy Sosa would go out there and tell the lady, "Nino, you cheap. Nino, you cheap." And Sammy and I used to hang out all the time. Yeah, but I forgot you were writing the report. So they had a lot of potential. All right, 90 some.
But that was a bad ballpark too. That was a very nice ballpark.
Yeah, Sims Legion Park was terrible, wasn't it, Barry? It really was. Those locker rooms are awful. I think they'd have a new one out in Gastonia someplace, but that was terrible. But only you and I could remember that one.
I played there.
Oh, did you?
My first year in pro ball. Yeah, Lynn Barker pitched for Gastonia that year. And at the end of the season, they brought people in to check the lights to see if they put a meter on the lights, and it didn't register.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Well, I did play-by-play there. If that's worth anything for American Legion games. I mean, and that press box was terrible too. I mean, there was nothing good about Sims Legion Park, other than the fact that if it hit a hurricane, it would stay there because you have all those wooden big walls where you stuck advertising signs on them. But still you got Warren, you got Barry, and I played in that place. Oh goodness!
Right.
And are we proud of it? No. Go ahead, George.
Well, not only did he 7 times he completed 20 or more games 7 times in his career, Bob Gibson, but 5 times he had 20 or more wins in a season. These are pitchers we're not going to see like this anymore, unfortunately, with the game changing so much. But Bob Feller, too, another great guy. Obviously, the Tigers hated him because he won so much and made Cleveland such a great team. I really, really think, though, that Bob Gibson was just an incredible pitcher. And, it just a great career. Anytime you can win that many games and that many complete games, it's phenomenal. Just a phenomenal pitcher.
All right, Eric.
Well, here since you're talking about that Sims Legion field, here I am thinking the concrete dump in Montreal was bad. But it's complete games are kind of a lost art nowadays. I mean, I remember at one, I think the last guy in today's game who did it regularly was Sandy Alcantara, who had, I think, 7 complete games one year.
Right.
But nowadays I think teams kind of live within their fears about pitchers getting hurt. Analytics is factored in too about teams just going right to their bullpen, and I just think that it hasn't really helped the pitchers. It's actually done the opposite. It's hurt them more than helped. And it's just unfortunate, but that's just the way the game has gone, as they've kind of gradually scaled back innings.
Okay. All right. Final topic of the night. On November 16, 2010, Roy Halladay wins the second Cy Young Award of his career. He becomes the 5th pitcher to win the award in both leagues. All right. Tell you what, we go back to Philadelphia and Toronto. What a player. I tell you, I miss Roy Halladay big time. He talk about a workhorse, Warren. This guy was it.
Yes. Well, I mean, the biggest thing about him was he struggled. He had, I believe, he still holds the record for the highest ERA in a season. It was like a 10.43, something like that. And they sent him all the way back to A-ball the next year to be with one of the pitching coaches that he came up with. And they dropped his arm angle down, and the rest was history. After that, he was just lights out. It's whatever they did really worked for him. And he went on to have a great, great career. And one of the few that win the Cy Young in both leagues. And throw no hitters in both leagues.
Yeah,
I believe he threw one in Toronto. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He
did. Yeah, he is. Like I said, what did I say? Become the 5th pitcher to win the award in both leagues. I think you're right about that too. I go with that. Candy, of course. If I don't know,
she'll know.
Well, I'm looking it up. You put me earlier in the lineup, so I can't get all my crack research done in time, Scott. Here, he was drafted 17th overall by the Blue Jays. In nearly his second career start, he nearly pitched a no-hitter. But then he struggled. He was demoted, and then he worked himself back up. Yeah, he won his American League he won the Cy Young Award in 2003 and in 2010. So yes, 2003 would have been with the Blue Jays, 2010 with the Phillies. He's 8-time All-Star. Pitched a postseason no-hitter on October 6, 2010. The perfect game on May 29, 2010. He's retired both. His number is retired both for Toronto and the Phillies.
Barry,
I'll leave it
how
at that.
would you like to have caught him?
Well, it would have been fun. He was a great pitcher, no question about it. And I knew some guys that were in the Blue Jays organization. Dave LaRoche is a minor league pitching coach, and he just thought he raved about what a good person he was. Not only a good pitcher, but was very, just a great guy on the ball club.
Yeah, unbelievable, George.
So Doc, why did he get called Doc Halladay? Well, here's the story behind that real quickly. The Blue Jays announcer Tom Cheek was referencing the old Wild West gunslinger Doc Halladay. And so that's where he got the nickname Doc. But yeah, what a great pitcher. Again, his life was cut short by a terrible accident and he died. But he really, really was a great Toronto and Philly pitcher. It just, you didn't want to go up against him. Let me tell you, because he had great stuff and certainly stands the test of time as being one of the baseball's greatest as far as pitching goes. And I really admired his work.
Eric.
I mean, top 3 pitcher of my generation, hands down. I mean, with the Blue Jays and the Phillies, he was he was the best. I mean, obviously it was very tragic what happened to him, but he's a Hall of Famer for a reason, best pitcher of my generation. And if I'm not mistaken, he threw a no-hitter in the postseason, which hadn't been done since Bob Feller threw his perfect game in the World Series for the Yankees.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, what's only fitting that we talked about Gibson and Feller. I wanted to add Roy Halladay to the conversation as well, because we don't get enough of him tonight. But meanwhile, that does it for this edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. But we're not done yet. Well, we're going to let everybody know how they get a hold of them. We'll do one more station break, and we're also going to tell everybody there will be no show next Monday night. So all we ask you to do is have a great Thanksgiving weekend. Enjoy the family, friends, and the food out there. And maybe George and I will get something on Thanksgiving that we're hoping that Candy Ebling won't like, and that's a win over the Green Bay Packers. Because golly knows we need it after last night.
It'll help the Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. All right, Warren, let everybody know how you get on you before I get in her doghouse.
I can be reached at Brewster40 Brewster40 @gmail.com.
Okay, Eric. Oh, now I got Candy ready to have her showing the group.
You can she's giving you the look.
know.
You can follow me on my Twitter account at Sports Team News, and you can check out my blog at phillisports.com where I'm writing about all things Milwaukee Brewers. And if you think I don't like your team, I probably don't.
You like
And
my
he's not-
team?
That's the exception, because I read about them.
And now he's writing for us. Great stuff, Eric. Okay, go ahead, George.
Yes.
Yeah, you can find me in the pages of the South Florida Tribune on the web, and I write in the contributors section, also locally in Detroit for the Downtown Detroit Monitor. And I have a book out there, Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air. Thank you, Candy, for putting that picture up. And Scott is mentioned in the book, as well as Gordie Howe and Al Kaline. And don't forget these great announcers we had. Ernie Harwell, Paul Carey, Ray Lane, the late Ray Lane, who just died this past 1 month ago. So, yeah, and you can reach me at gikern@yahoo.com and on X, Twitter at SanGSports99. I'm also on LinkedIn and Facebook and all that other fun stuff. So great to be part of the show again tonight. Thank you.
All right, we'll turn it over to Candy with our final station break and whatever else you want to add to it, because she's foaming at the bit.
You know, I find it highly ironic that both you and my boss, who root for two different teams other than mine, but my team is playing both of them in the upcoming, that they think that you guys are going to win. You know what? If you're going to brag about it, that the proof will be on the field. Let's put it that way. We already beat you once, Scott, so we'll see how it goes in the second time around on the national stage.
We'll just call it the eye of the candy, not the eye of the tiger. Go ahead.
But as far as South Florida Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. If you've liked any of the stories that he's told so far, go read the book. You think he was hard on me? You should read the book about one of his teachers and what he did to one of his teachers.
Yeah.
So get the book to find out. So George Eichhorn also wrote the foreword. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content. Yes, Scott writes for us, Eric writes for us, and George also writes for us. So go check out their articles. I put pictures up there once in a while. South Florida Tribune Publishing Company. If you go to our YouTube channel, we have all kinds of videos up there for post-game press conferences as well as these shows. So go check that out. If you're not one of our subscribers, you see that red subscribe button, click it, like us, share us with all your friends and family, turn on the notifications, but definitely subscribe so you're notified when we go live. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, or if you want to be part of a show or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. And that is SOUTHFLORIDATRIBUNE@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
I want to thank everybody on the group here. Trent Clark, of course, Warren Brewster, my Uncle Warren out in Hawaii. Now I have a reason to come to Maui. Oh, my God, I can't believe you're there. I got to get there now. I got to get her there. That's the only island we didn't hit when we were out there before. And Eric Katz, my student, and George and Barry, what can I say about you guys? You guys are great. I love all you people. I love all these people on this network that we've accumulated. Barry, you know how I feel about you, man. That goes without saying. dating our back to the days of the old days when we were just learning our trade. George, what can I say? My favorite pinata. Okay, so with that said, thank you everybody for joining us. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. We'll be back Tuesday, 2 weeks from tonight here on 108th Inches Baseball Talk. We will have an episode of Talking Baseball this Saturday, so hope you can join us there. So on behalf of Trent Clark, Warren Brewster, Candy Ebling, Eric Katz, George Eichhorn, and last but not least, the greatest entrepreneurial and excellent baseball player on the planet, Barry Foote, and somebody I really feel like a close friend of mine for years, Barry Foote. I want to thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Until then, we'll have more Baseball Hay coming your way. Good night, everybody.
Okay.